Welcome back to Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia. I am your host, Chad Everett Broshears. So, question. First, right out of the chute, before we really get far into the episode, what do you want to accomplish? Like, for you, consider where you are. Like, what do you want to accomplish in your life? Now, do you have long-term and short-term goals? What do you want to accomplish? I think a lot of us fall in love with the idea. We actually become more attached to the dream than we do necessarily the work to accomplish it. We also think that the work to accomplishment will look like some sort of arduous task, something as if it were to belong to the Road to Wigan Pier, which is a George Orwell book about the life of miners at the time, and I mean like people that go out and mine, or not people that are under the age of adults. We all find ourselves kind of falsely personifying the idea of hard work. It's either hard work needs to be this playground, or it needs to be this this hardcore nasty task. The reality is there's a lot of different things about it. I mean, it's for me in my experience, and I can only speak to the experience that I've had so far and the ones that have been shared with me, that I can qualify, that I understand enough. Not just say, oh yeah, I get it. There's a process to qualifying if you understand it or not, asking deeper questions, or questions that involve emotion or involve more description than the general overview. So we seem to get really attached to these ideas, and it's various different things. Like if you think that being successful or accomplishing your goal is going to be more like these, like the social media influencers that make it look like it's all fun and games and glamorous and, fit bodies and stacks of money and, listening to music all day and just kind of hanging out. That's a dream concept. They're selling a dream, and that's their job. Is they're marketing the sugar of life, the sweet elements. It's not really the work factor. The waking up early, staying up late, pushing yourself to an agreed amount of time beyond what you consider to be okay or comfortable. It's a lot like exercise in its own sense, because you have to push yourself past what you feel comfortable with doing in order to achieve the next level of your abilities. No, same concept. I spoke with a good friend of mine that this guy is like a cat. Absolutely like a cat. It does not matter the scenario. He gets flipped around all over the place and he lands on his feet. Does not matter. He always lands on his feet. And not only does he land on his feet, he lands on it in a way that's extremely impressive. It's like, dude, you're already productive. And you just landed. You're already producing. If you're listening, it's my buddy, Johnny, or I go by his other name that he yells at me for. It's Trung. Oh, this guy is impressive. There's other friends of mine that are like that as well. And it's like you just know that no matter what life throws at them, they're going to be successful. But that also is because they have a degree to pivot. And that degree of pivoting, meaning the ability to change direction at the moment with the current new circumstances. They're able to pivot. Not just he. I know a couple of women that are the same way. And the same way, meaning that their capacity to pivot is high. It's life teaches us things, and it's how we embrace the moment. A lot of people retreat from the moment. If you embrace the moment, you have more of an opportunity to truly assess the moment, because the moment presents something different to you than it does for somebody who retreats, hides, shelters themselves away from the hardships the moment presents. When was the last time that, if you're watching, when was the last time that you were dead broke, you knew a bill was coming in and you didn't panic, you didn't freak out and do a knee-jerk reaction to try to figure out how you're going to get the money, whether it's asking to borrow it from somebody or do something that gives you quick responses, a quick amount of money. Embracing the moment would be kind of meditating on it, if you will, but it doesn't mean you have to close the doors, draw the shades, kill the lights, light a candle, and hum while, rubbing a sounding bowl or something. It's not like that. Just like really embracing it and giving it its right to exist. I'm emotionally upset right now. I mentioned this before in a previous video about being on it. Oh, if you're on it, fantastic. If you're on it, you're living present in the moment of being upset. And upset's usually associated with attachment. And I argue to say it's always associated with attachment. But how many people don't want to look at their attachment? They don't want to look at what got them to that point. They don't want to look at the symptoms of the attachment, which is how upset you can be and how you blame other people. It's usually the people around you that don't blame others for things, and they just said, well, I'll do better next time, without assigning blame to somebody else as being responsible for themselves. Those are the people that are living in that moment, that are allowing and giving permission for that moment to exist the way that it exists in its absolute sincerity. It's not filtering. It's not trying to change the concepts of it because of the overarching ideology that somebody ascribes to, like people that are pessimists or optimists. Predominantly, it's optimists that state their position, not so much the pessimists. But there's a filtering process, which means manipulating the experience enough that you can kind of be a filter for reality and then let it become, transformed into something different out of you. It's always going to be one of those things that I revert to, which is, what do you really want to accomplish, and how much do you know about accomplishing that thing? I'll share a little bit about what I feel or how I feel about luck in just a second, my working definition and functional portions of luck. But do you embrace it? Do you accept what you're going through? Do you look for what got you to where you are? And when you understand what you want to accomplish, do you know what's necessary to accomplish it? And if you don't know what's necessary to accomplishment, what do you know about finding out what you don't know? Do you seek out a mentor? Do you find a book? Do you watch videos? Do you study something in some way that gives you insight on it so that you can change the behavior enough to make you more successful? That's the kind of stuff that I really like to look at myself. So it's more of, I'm not going to have you guys looking at photos of me wearing next to nothing to try to get some sort of glamorous idea of me. I'm not going to show off a flashy car. I'm not doing any of that to try to create a false idea of me or myself or my life or my abilities. I'm in this game. I'm going through the process of becoming 1% better than I was the day before so that I can have an outcome that I really want to accomplish. My goal is to become realized. And I've also looked at, what do I not know about accomplishing this, and what do I know about accomplishing it? And then I go into what does my resources give me availability for? And that resource is, how much time do I have available for it? How much energy, both psychological energy and physical energy, emotional energy, how much of that do I have to dedicate to this particular goal? Do I have the money as a resource to purchase either books, courses, getting a mentor, putting myself into a specific and dedicated class for that thing? I gauge those variables to find out where I'm at with the ability to accomplish the goal, learn what I need to accomplish that goal, and continue to build out variables necessary to understand to make those steps. So identify your target once you have an idea about what your goal is, and then build up from there. What do I know about this stuff? No. Now, it's highly beneficial to dig into this, because if you don't, you may be either in love with the idea, the daydreaming aspect of it. You may be really invested in telling people that you want to accomplish something, and the story around it, and the way that you get the reward for telling people, and they're like, wow, you're brave, or wow, that's awesome, or it's the first step when you share with somebody, but you might be addicted to that first step, And when they say it's a grind, it's not always a grind in the way, like as a 360-degree view of it, of life in itself isn't always just a grind. There's going to be the fun parts. There's going to be the parts that you have an affluency in, the skill sets to accomplish the goal. And it's fun. You get to see that. The goal that I have for everyone who watches my videos and anyone I interact with, my clients, both at work and as well, or in the brick and mortar business, as well as my online and my developmental business, I'm always looking for the better outcome for the individual and how to build them up for that. And the psychological element, it's more of what I refer to and have referred to many times as scaffolding. My goal is to make everyone independent of me. Now, if someone chooses when they're independent of me to spend time with me, I know they're not doing it out of need. They're doing it out of want. It's always comes across for me when I find out, or at least I've been affected in a way when finding out that somebody that's involved in my life is there because they need to be involved in my life, because they feel that I helped them accomplish their goal, but it's for that reason only. And I could be gone tomorrow, and the only thing they would miss about me is the fact that I helped them get someplace. All right. I'm not going to go on much longer about this particular subject without feedback or desire, comments, things like that. But know that there are specific and significant values to look at whenever it comes to accomplishing these goals that we have. If you like the idea of just telling people what you want to accomplish, then there's nothing wrong really with enrolling people in a fairy tale. It's just that's what you're doing if you really aren't taking actions towards it. Now, there's always the contemplative, which is before really ever making the statement. Contemplative is whenever you have made the statement. It's always stuff that's there, but we don't always address it. We don't always say what we want to accomplish and then show people. I am a big fan of the show me your actions. And if you don't have a plan for the actions, let's discuss that. But don't enroll me in these grandiose ideas of what you want to accomplish and then not want to speak with me about the next steps of action to accomplish it. A lot of this stuff is you have to fail into success. There is a myriad of books that are written into this that fail into success. That people that have failed consistently but have been able to become successful because they failed enough to learn their lessons to become successful. Stress and failure is tuition for the future you're creating. If you decide not to spend the stress, the sweat equity as some people refer to it, you can look at it that way. If you're not willing to spend the stress equity in a way that helps you achieve your goals, then it's likely to burn a hole in your pocket. All right, it's likely to burn you up. So it's your call. You do what you want to do in your life. If you decide that you want to have something different, no matter what it is, if you decide you want to have something different in your relationships, find a mentor. If you can get one, look into how to advance your state so that you can get closer to your goal. It's not going to happen by accident. It's a rare case when that happens. You have to be intentional in your life. Moshe Feldenkrais is an author that I really enjoy. I've followed some of his books. I've read actually quite a few of his books. He's an individual. He's no longer alive. He passed, almost. I believe it was about 50 years ago, maybe longer. And he talks about something called the potent self. That's what I intend to always create, is the potent self. What is the self I need to create in order for you to really develop yourself into this next level to get you closer to your goals? So that's it for today. Consider that to access or unlock your potent self, it does take some effort, takes work, takes strategy. It's not going to happen by accident. Chaos and luck are actually the same but opposite ends of the coin. Luck is the desirable side, chaos is the non-desirable side, but both are there by your awareness of accident. But there's not a lot of accidents in life, and it's reality. It's just you don't always have the depth of understanding to really be able to put together the pattern, so therefore you're likely to continue it. I'm Chad Everett Broshears. I'm the host of Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia. Share this video with people in your life you know that'll help. Until next time, see ya.